It's incredible how much money you have.
Everything's in the company. What are you talking about?
I feel like maybe one day, you could become like president of the United States.
And so we run out to the yard and try to hide.
So you want to be a rich movie star? Jessica Alba had the face, the fame, and the fortune. But behind the image was the brutal cost of becoming a star. The year is 2007, Vancouver. The set of Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Absolutely. The Fantastic Four are definitely a family, and I think any good family is a bit dysfunctional.
The budget is a staggering $130 million. Jessica Alba is standing on her mark. She is 26 years old. She is the sexiest woman alive, the it girl, the ultimate Hollywood fantasy. She is filming a pivotal, emotional death scene. She is pouring her heart out, summoning every ounce of pain she has ever felt. Tears are streaming down her face. Then, the director, Tim Story, yells cut.
And cut.
He walks over to her. He looks at her tear-streaked face with a look of dissatisfaction, and he says words that will haunt her forever. It looks too real. It looks too painful. Can you be prettier when you cry? He tells her to make her face flat, to stop emoting. We can CGI the tears in later. In that moment, something snaps inside her. She realizes she isn't a person to this industry. She is a prop, a mannequin, a digital asset to be manipulated. She goes back to her trailer and thinks, I don't care about this business anymore. The world saw a superhero on screen, but behind the scenes, Jessica Alba was plotting a rescue mission. Not for the world, but for herself. She wasn't just going to quit Hollywood.
It was interesting because I never cared about that part of Hollywood. I was never enamored with it. I didn't care.
She was going to build an empire that would force them to respect her mind, not just her body. This is the story of how the sickly girl with the collapsed lungs became the mogul who took on the chemical industry. Before the magazine covers, there was the hospital bed. Jessica Marie Alba was born in 1981 in Pomona, California. Her background was a melting pot. Mexican-American on her father's side, European on her mother's. She grew up in a conservative, Catholic, Latin American family. But her childhood wasn't defined by heritage. It was defined by survival.
And here's something new that you never knew. She's a military brat, but as a little girl, she had serious health issues of her own.
Jessica's childhood health crisis started with chronic asthma and allergies that forced her to be in and out of hospitals.
She was a sick child. Desperately, terrifyingly sick.
So, and then I was sick a lot. I was in the hospital, basically every time I got a cold, I was in the hospital for 2 weeks.
Really?
She battled pneumonia 4 to 5 times a year. She suffered from a ruptured appendix, a tonsillar cyst, severe asthma. She spent more time in sterile hospital rooms than on the playground. She was isolated. No one knew me well enough to befriend me, she later recalled, because she was never at school long enough to make a friend. She lived in a bubble of physical fragility, constantly aware of her own mortality. But her mind was sharp, and it was hungry. To escape the pain, she retreated into fantasy.
I was a very sick kid. I think that's why I became an actor, because I spent so much time by myself fantasizing that I was going to be somebody else.
She became obsessed with characters, with living lives that weren't her own. At age 5, she told her parents she was a feminist.
I guess when I was 5, I was a self-proclaimed feminist.
At 5?
At 5,
Yeah.
But feminism just means equality, and I did feel like women should deserve the same things as men.
At age 12, she made a deal. She persuaded her mother to take her to an acting competition in Beverly Hills. The grand prize was free acting classes. She didn't just participate, she won. 9 months later, she had an agent. The sick girl had found a way to be someone else, someone strong. And as she grew, that strong girl found another reason for a stiff upper lip. She started working early at 13. A few things here, a few roles there.
This is my very first job called Camp Nowhere. I was so happy to get this job, and I was 12, and
She did commercials for Nintendo and JCPenney. She had a couple small roles in Camp Nowhere. A bigger break came as she landed the lead role in the series Flipper, thanks to her powerful swimming ability.
I am a mermaid.
She was building the makings of a resume, a portfolio, brick by brick. However, tensions started to rise. As she matured, she felt the gaze of men acutely. She started to receive unwanted advances both on and off set. She recalled a youth pastor telling her that men hit on her because she dressed provocatively. It was in that strict religious household she began to feel a deep, internalized shame. She recalled, "It made me feel like if I was in any way desirable to the opposite sex, that it was my fault," she said. "It made me ashamed of my body and being a woman." Then she got her first role of a lifetime.
Not bad.
A real adult role. She played Max Guevara, a genetically engineered super soldier in the hit sci-fi series Dark Angel.
My character's name is Max Guevara.
Hey, you're kind of cute.
She's confident. She's a smartass.
So how does this bitch work?
She's honest.
When he looks at me, he sees something he doesn't like.
She doesn't feel the need to put on a facade for anyone.
This was a major event. It was a 2000 blockbuster by none other than legendary director of the Titanic, James Cameron. He had looked at over 1,000 candidates, and he'd picked Jessica. For the first time, she felt powerful. She was kicking ass. She was the hero. It earned her a Golden Globe nomination.
And I would love to play the Invisible Woman again. I love those Marvel superhero movies, or I'd love to play another one of them.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's so many great characters.
But very quickly, the focus shifted. The paparazzi buzz wasn't about her acting prowess, but her beauty. Hollywood was twisting her power. They didn't want a soldier, they wanted a pin-up. The scripts got thinner, the bikinis got smaller. Into the Blue, Good Luck Chuck, Sin City. She was marketed aggressively as a bombshell, exotic sex symbol. Magazines like Maxim and FHM put her at the top of their Hot 100 lists. She flatly refused to do any actual nudity, but the camera devoured her anyway. The fame was coming with a heavy psychological price. It was going in a direction she wasn't comfortable with. Then, the first big betrayal came. Playboy put her on the cover of a 2006 edition without her consent. They used a promo shot that implied nudity. She decided enough was enough. She didn't just respond, she sued. She forced Hugh Hefner, the king of the Playboys, to apologize. He donated to 2 charities she supported as a show of goodwill. Alba dropped the claim. Still, it showed that beneath the sex kitten skin, there was a steel spine. It was a tough balancing act. She hated the term sex symbol. She hated the attention and focus on her looks rather than her skills. But she also later admitted, "I have to go to certain lengths to use sexuality to my advantage." It was a dangerous, high-stakes game. She tried to leverage her looks to get power, while the industry tried to reduce her to nothing but her looks. But then came the moment it unraveled. The cry pretty moment on the Fantastic Four set. Finally, she realized that Hollywood fundamentally did not respect her mind. They did not respect her identity.
It's interesting because I never cared about that part of Hollywood. I was never enamored with it. I didn't care.
They just wanted a pretty body. She needed an exit strategy. Most pretty faces in Hollywood build a fashion brand, or maybe cosmetics. But Alba's pivot into the entrepreneurial came completely out of left field. Bear with me here. It came from a load of laundry. In 2008, Jessica was pregnant with her first child.
It's different. I'm not really terribly nervous. So being pregnant is kind of like taking a sedative or something. I'm just kind of chill.
She just bought a baby clothes haul and was pre-washing for the arrival. She poured in some baby-safe detergent. But moments later, she broke out in welts, hives, sneezing, and watery eyes.
I obviously was seeking out the safest and healthiest products for my new little baby that I was bringing into this world. And I had an allergic reaction to this detergent that is geared towards babies specifically. And I was like, how could this be safe for babies? It's crazy.
She had a visceral flashback to her sickly childhood.
And she might be sick, like I was.
The fear of allergens, the vulnerability of her body.
Bizarre way, when I became a mom and I was pregnant at 26, I actually got an allergic reaction to a laundry detergent that my mom recommended that I use. And all this stuff from my childhood came back and I was like, oh my goodness.
If this so-called safe detergent did this to her adult skin, what would it do to a newborn baby? She started researching the ingredients in household products. What she found terrified her. Petrochemicals, formaldehyde, flame retardants.
And as I did research, I learned that there are lots of untested, potentially harmful chemicals in everyday products. Lots of things are made from a lot of petrochemicals. Not every petrochemical is bad, but it's hard to know what is what. And
toxic substances known to cause cancer and developmental issues, hidden in diapers, wipes, and shampoos. Then she stumbled across the fact that shocked her the most. The Toxic Substances Control Act, supposed to protect consumers from unsafe ingredients, it hadn't been updated since 1976.
Toxic Substance Control Act, and it hadn't been reformed since then, and there have been more than 80,000 new chemicals that have been introduced into the marketplace, and there's no standard where they have to test them for safety before bringing them into consumer product.
The chemical industry was basically the Wild West. She desperately hunted for a brand she could trust, one that was effective, affordable, and actually safe. It didn't exist. You could buy green products that didn't work and smelled like patchouli, or you could buy effective products that were loaded with toxins. There was no middle ground. Most wealthy Hollywood mums would have just bought the expensive organic stuff from Europe. But Jessica remembered her roots. She wanted safe products for everyone, not just the 1%. So, Jessica Alba decided to do the impossible. Possibly one of the most ridiculous but audacious pivots in Hollywood. She decided to build a family-friendly personal care brand without the chemicals.
I just want healthy, safe products available to every child. I think every child deserves the best.
She had the idea. The Honest Company. A brand built on transparency, safe products, beautiful design. But she was just an actress. She spent 3 agonizing years pitching. She went to Silicon Valley. She went to business partners. The rejection was patronizing and constant. They didn't see a CEO. They saw a face for a billboard. But Jessica had the one thing they lacked, a mother's intuition.
Well, I really created this company out of a need that I had as a mom when I was pregnant with my first daughter.
She knew that millions of millennial mums were just like her, scared, informed, and looking for better options. Finally, she found her partners.
Hi, I'm Jessica Alba, one of the founders of Honest.com.
And hi, I'm Christopher Gavigan, also one of the founders of Honest.com.
Christopher Gavigan, a healthy child advocate, and Brian Lee, the founder of LegalZoom. Brian Lee was skeptical at first. Then he asked his wife about the problem. He was in. In 2012, the Honest Company launched. They started with 17 products: diapers, wipes, detergent. It wasn't a slow burn, it was an explosion. In the first year, they did $10 million in revenue. By 2014, the company was valued at $1 billion. A unicorn. Jessica Alba wasn't just the face, she was the chief creative officer. She was in the meetings, she was picking the packaging.
Thinking here was, how do you do something graphic that represents the flow? So you have small dots, bigger dots, and biggest dots.
She was lobbying Congress for safer chemical laws. In 2015, Forbes put her on the cover, not as a celebrity, as one of America's richest self-made women. The director who told her to cry pretty was now watching her build an empire that eclipsed her box office returns. But the climb wasn't smooth. When you challenge the giants, they fight back. And when you call yourself honest, you paint a target on your back. The company faced lawsuits, allegations that their sunscreen didn't work, claims that their natural ingredients weren't natural enough, recalls of baby powder and wipes. The media, who loved building her up, loved tearing her down even more. Headlines screamed, "Jessica Alba's company sued."
The latest on that new legal trouble for Jessica Alba and her Honest Company brand. It's under fire over false advertising allegations. ABC's Rebecca Jarvis has the details.
It was a brutal test of leadership. It would have been easy to walk away, to sell, to blame the scientists. But she didn't hide. She reformulated. She improved the science. She doubled down on transparency. She proved that she wasn't just a figurehead, she was a fighter. In 2021, the company went public. It raised $412 million in its IPO. It solidified her status as a legitimate business mogul. But the hustle took a toll. Balancing Hollywood, a billion-dollar public company, and 3 children is a weight few can carry forever. In April 2024, she made another bold decision. She stepped down as Chief Creative Officer. She realized that to keep growing, she needed to let go. She remained on the board, but she reclaimed her time. Then, in 2025, her personal life faced its own reckoning. After 16 years of marriage to Cash Warren, the father of her 3 children, she filed for divorce. They cited irreconcilable differences, but stressed there was no hateful drama.
It's like, I like myself better when he's in my life. Like, it's when it comes down to it, I wouldn't want to be with anybody else.
In the end, it was the daily pressure of performance that pushed them apart. While each of them grew in their own ways in different directions, it was less an explosion and more the slow erosion of romance, the end of an era, a painful, public restructuring of her family, and the media was asking the question, what about the kids? After all, her youngest was only 7. But both parents stuck to their guns and stated their children would always be their highest priority. And then, in her determination to move forward and let no setback hold her back, she stepped out again. In July 2025, she reportedly began dating actor Danny Ramirez. Alba will always refuse to be defined by an ending. Today, Jessica Alba is 44 years old. She sits on a net worth estimated in the hundreds of millions. Her legacy is in the aisles of Target and Costco. It's in the legislation she fought for on Capitol Hill. She proved that soft values like safety, empathy, and transparency could drive hard revenue. From a sick child in isolation to a global sex symbol trapped in a box, to a boardroom titan who changed the way we live. Jessica Alba's life is a masterclass in this truth. The most powerful role you will ever play is the one you create for yourself.
Building something will make it easier for others to come through so they don't have to work as hard.